The night was heavy with tension as I drove through the darkened streets of Villisca, Iowa. It was June 10th, 1912, and I was called to investigate a scene that no one in this quiet town would soon forget. The call came in just after dawn. A gruesome discovery had been made in a modest white house on 2nd Street. When I arrived, I was greeted by a scene that would forever be etched in my mind. The bodies of 6 members of the Moore family lay scattered throughout their home, brutally murdered in their sleep. The victims were Josiah and Sarah Moore, along with their 4 children, 10-year-old Herman, 7-year-old Mary, 5-year-old Arthur, and 2-year-old Paul. A pair of friends, Lena and Anna Stillinger, who were spending the night, were also found lifeless in the same home. As I stepped inside, the oppressive air weighed down on me. The house was eerily silent, save for the creaking of floorboards beneath my feet. The living room was dimly lit by the early morning sun, filtering through the curtains, revealing a scene of unimaginable horror. Each victim had been struck multiple times with an axe, and the sight was almost too much to bear. The first thing I noticed was the methodical nature of the killings. The axe, found in the yard, was clean, its handle splattered with blood. The killer had taken their time, moving from room to room, ensuring that no one was left alive. I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck rise. This wasn't just a crime of passion, it was calculated and sinister. I began my investigation by interviewing neighbors. They reported strange sounds coming from the house the previous night, but thought little of it, attributing the noises to children playing or perhaps the wind. It was clear that no one had seen anything amiss until it was too late. As I pieced together the timeline, I learned that Josiah Moore had been a well-respected member of the community, a man known for his kindness. He had no known enemies, which made the motive for such a heinous crime elusive. There were whispers of a local transient, a drifter, who had been seen in the area, but no solid leads emerged. Days turned into weeks as the investigation dragged on. I followed every lead, tracking down the transient, interviewing locals, and even scrutinizing Josiah's business dealings. Yet, each time I thought I had a break, it fizzled out like smoke in the wind. The townsfolk began to grow restless, their fear palpable as they wondered if a monster lurked among them. Then came the twist. A local man named Frank Jones, a prominent figure in the community and a rival of Josiah, emerged as a potential suspect. Rumors swirled that he had a motive tied to jealousy over business dealings, but when I confronted him, he denied any involvement, providing a solid alibi. The case continued to stall. The next major lead came from a curious boy who claimed to have seen a man loitering near the Moore home the night of the murders. His description was vague, but it gave me hope that I was closing in on the truth. As I followed this new path, I began to receive anonymous letters, taunting me with riddles and half-truths, hinting at a dark secret within the town. One letter led me to the town cemetery, where an old tombstone caught my eye. It bore the name of a local man who had been rumored to dabble in the occult. Could there be a connection? As I dug deeper, I discovered that he had been in town the night of the murders, yet no one had linked him to the crime. With this new information, I secured a search warrant and scoured his belongings. Among his things, I found a diary filled with disturbing entries, hints of dark rituals, and references to the Moore family. It was chilling. I couldn't help but wonder if this man, Reverend George Kelly, had orchestrated the entire thing, driven by a twisted ideology. As I gathered enough evidence to bring him in for questioning, my gut churned with anxiety. I had come so far, yet every time I thought I was close, another dead end loomed ahead. The confrontation was tense. Kelly was uncooperative, but as I pressed him, something shifted. He began to unravel, slipping between anger and fear as I laid out my case against him. He claimed he had nothing to do with the murders, but the more I probed, the more his facade crumbled. But it wasn't enough. Without concrete evidence, he walked free, leaving me feeling defeated. The case remained unsolved, a festering wound that would never heal. Years passed, and the Villisca Axe murders would become a ghost story whispered among the townsfolk, a haunting reminder of that fateful night. I never forgot the faces of the victims, their innocent smiles forever frozen in time. The truth remained elusive, and the killer vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a chilling legacy. In the end, we were left with more questions than answers. Why did someone want to destroy the Moore family? What drove a person to commit such brutality? The killer was never found, and the ghost of that night lingered long after the headlines faded.